Okay, so I have been busy combating what I like to call the social machine or the school machine. Speaking, no, I'm sick right now and my body hurts and my nose is stuffed. But that does not matter. I'm just saying the exposition for the video. Basically, here's my situation. I used to be homeschooled. I homeschooled myself, in fact, for the sole reason that I felt that school wasn't giving me what I wanted it to. I felt like English classes, especially, were just made purely to propagate us, to brainwash us with all kinds of BS that is not important and should not be occupying our minds. And a lot of it was talk on, race and queer and gender stuff, and I feel like instead of actually, making the world a better place, is just making the divisions between diverse people even bigger. But that is against the point. That is not what I'm trying to say, basically. What I'm trying to talk about is how, well, actually, that does kind of play into it. Basically, how school as a structure is created specifically to dumb us down. This is done in like every country, but I think in America specifically, because it's America. And yeah, a lot of things come into play when it comes to that. It's social media, it is the books you read in your English class, it is the seating charts, it's everything. It's even the way the school is built. Did you know that schools are specifically designed to provide easy evacuation during school shootings? I saw a video about that like 5 years ago. But yeah, buildings are specifically designed to tailor to school shootings, which it makes sense, but at the same time, that's kind of messed up. Well, to tailor to evacuating kids out of the school during school shootings. But anyway, basically, school is a mechanism built to turn all people, all the kids that go there, into working class citizens. The whole shtick there is that while you go there, you get your A's, you have good paintings in your art show, or you sing well in choir, or I don't know, you won the math competition, or you won the basketball game. And then you got the scholarship, and then you got the girlfriend and the boyfriend, and then you got the car, you got everything, and you got a job. And basically, you're kind of just playing these cards that you were dealt. And while you're at school, you're being told, I mean, you probably won't get a car while you're at school. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm very tired. I'm like, I should be studying for my math final, for my Algebra 3 final, and I'm not doing that right now because I'm just done. I cannot focus. I've been sitting like a zombie for 2 hours. And yeah, basically while you're at school, you're being told, oh, you're so great, you're so talented, you're gonna be the next freaking Stephen King, you're gonna be the next LeBron James, or you're gonna be the next, H.R. Geiger, and you're gonna be this amazing person because you're one of the coolest people here at this school. Or it doesn't matter who you are, they're gonna be telling you that anyway. I mean, it's good that people have hope in you, but that's not how things work out. Once you leave school, crap starts to change. You get hit with real life. You have to get a job because you can't stay at your parents' house forever. You don't really have money to pay for a good college. You can't go to NYU. That stuff's expensive. I know you were told that you're gonna be the next film director, but I'm sorry, to be like David Lynch, you gotta go to NYU because he went there, but you don't have the money to, so your chances, they're kind of gone. You know, to be a film director, you gotta have connections first and foremost. You can film good movies all you want, but if you really want to make it big, you gotta know the right people, and those right people are at the Ivy League colleges. I know that because I used to want to be a film director, and now I don't anymore because I don't plan on just going through all that. I'll do it as a hobby. And yeah, other than that, school is meant to put you in your shell. It is meant to teach you to follow the rules, and especially now. This is especially now. Back then in the 90s, I read books about the 90s, and it was way more chaotic. You could come to somebody's house with toilet paper and throw it all over their house. In fact, crap, where is it? Where is it? Oh, there it is. In fact, I have this book. This is the original first edition of Marilyn Manson's The Long Hard Road Out of Hell. And it describes his childhood up until the year 1997, where after he's made Antichrist Superstar, one of his best albums. It's my favorite album. And in his teenage years, he does the craziest stuff. He gets into fights. He goes and trashes people's houses with his friends. And back then it was normal. Like, people did that stuff back then. People used to give out little notes to each other, like either saying something awful or saying, "Oh, hey, I like you. Do you want to go out with me?" Like that type of stuff. People had guts back then. Now, when is the last time you have seen or personally have gotten a note from somebody that tells you, "F you, you are the worst, you're trash, you need to go to hell," or whatever? I'm really glazing right here. That's not how they say it. They say it much brutally. I mean, I have gotten a note once, but that was back in middle school. I feel like since then, people have become even more afraid. People are afraid to talk to each other. They're afraid to say the littlest thing wrong. Even me, I'm a more serious, straightforward person. I say just one word that doesn't really have any negative connotation, like in my opinion. And in just the slightest manner, it is offensive to somebody. And I'm like, "I'm sorry, that's just how I talk. I don't see how that's offensive to you. If you feel like I've accidentally said something mean, don't consider it that. That's just the way I talk. I'm not a, how do you say it? I don't wish bad things onto people. Every person, even if I don't like them, I try to be kind to them and understanding of them, and sometimes even offer advice or whatever. But yeah, what I'm saying is, people don't have guts to do things anymore. They don't even have the guts to say what they really mean. And going back to Marilyn Manson, he said one quote, I don't remember if it was in this book or in a different book, but basically he said that if people just said what they meant, then most of the world's problems wouldn't even exist. Which, in some ways I agree, and others no. I feel like sometimes you have to lie in order to avoid problems, but in some cases, you have to just say what you freaking mean. If you want to make friends with somebody, you gotta tell them you want to make friends with them, even if you don't sit in the same place as them. And this now goes to the next point. Seating charts, guys. have you ever noticed that the only friends you have ever made at school, or most of them at least, were just the people who coincidentally sat at the same table as you on the first day that you came in? That's the thing. Most friendships at school, they form within the first 2 weeks, and they form at the table that you sit at. That's how it's been for me all the time. I don't know who has had a difference. Maybe if you're not me, you probably had a different. This is just my perspective. And once those friendships are formed, adding new people to the friend group is almost an impossible thing. It just doesn't happen often, at least. And if you try to make friends with somebody new, and for example, you've been in the class for 3 months, and you want to talk to this person. I've had this situation actually. I was in my art academy, and there was one girl that I really wanted to make friends with. And I don't know what was in my mind. Now, I just would have come up to her easily, and we would have been really good friends. I'm sure of it. But back then, I don't know what kind of anxiety I had in me. I could not muster up any courage to talk to her. I did talk to her on certain occasions, but it was really an anxiety-inducing thing. It was really hard for me to do that. And even then, I didn't really make friends with her. So yeah. And I really regret that, because instead of, spending time with her, maybe she wouldn't have been as great as I imagined her to be, but instead of, having a potentially nice friend and a good friend group, I spent that entire time with people I don't really like, and I didn't really like. Well, I was in a group of people, some of which I did like and some of which I didn't. And I'm not going to name any of them. I'm just saying, some of them acted like real pieces of trash, and they treated me horribly, and the other people in the friend group horribly as well. And I was just there taking it all. And I wasn't fighting for my own happiness, for my own connections. You live only once. You get to experience this life only once. Why would you spend an entire 2 years of your high school, for me personally, an entire 2 years of your high school experience in a friend group with people that are absolute pieces of trash? I don't see why I did that. It makes sense. I had a horrible middle school experience, so I would have been fine just making friends with anybody who wouldn't make fun of me, which some people still did, but it wasn't like cruel like it used to be in middle school. So yeah. And I just took it. Then I took a year off from everything. I moved to a different state, and I just sat at home and I thought about stuff. And I was homeschooled, and I learned by myself, and I was always taking walks and thinking about just my life and what mattered to me. And during that year, I realized how much of an introvert I was, one, and how much I desired human connection, real human connection. I would walk around the park all by myself because I wouldn't have any friends. All my friends were left behind in that other state. And I would still talk to them, and it was all great, but it still sucked because you're alone by yourself here. And you're walking around the park and you're seeing all these other people with their friends talking to each other, and you're just by yourself. You're just making rounds and rounds, and you're just in your own mind talking to yourself. And it feels so miserable that you don't have any friends. And not just any friends, just like people that you actually would want to talk to, with whom you would have real conversations. And now, when I went back to school, for certain reasons, I had to go back to public school now in this new state, and it's a very fancy freaking, as people call bougie school. And I thought to myself, this is my senior year. I'm going to do all the things that I was afraid of doing. I'm not going to have any more regrets. And I'm going to talk to the people that I actually want to be friends with. And I'm just going to, maybe even do some stupid stuff. There were such minuscule things that I was afraid of doing. Like, I don't know, making a stupid face at the hallway camera. The camera that's just above you. I always was like watching and monitoring myself and felt like I was watched and monitored by the world, by my surroundings, and that I was constantly being judged. And I still feel that way sometimes, not as much as before, but I still feel that way. But I have gone to wild lengths, very surprising to me personally, lengths of to get out of my comfort zone and be a little more confident with myself and what I actually want to do. And as a result, these past 15 weeks, because I count everything by weeks, I don't like doing the month thing. If you count your life by weeks, it makes things feel a little urgent, so you don't waste time. What am I saying? And so in these 15 weeks, I feel like I have been more true to myself and have been more myself than I have ever been. Because at my old school, I was definitely wearing a mask. I was just, oh my God, like that was a completely different person. I was acting when I came to school. It was like an acting job every single day. And I still have to wear a mask. I can't always show who I really am to people. It's only logical, we're all that way. But I just feel so much more free now that I have taken the steps to become the architect of my own reality, to surround myself with people that I feel are good, that people that I feel I deserve to be around. And maybe they don't like me, or maybe they don't feel that I mesh with them. Maybe they're just from a different group. And that also taps into the hierarchies, the social hierarchies. But I still do it anyway. And so what have I been fighting, quote unquote, in the school system? Like I said, it was the seating charts and the social hierarchies. People don't talk to each other and talk to each other due to seating charts and this is where I should be looking. And social hierarchies at school. So let me just dive a little deeper into this. You've got a seating chart. You sit near people and you have to talk to them every single day. And you talk to them, but you are not really interested in them. You don't really want to talk to them, extracurricularly, for example. They're still nice and you'll like compliment them and stuff, but oh my God, excuse me. But people that just seem cool. And why not come up and tell them, oh, hey, you're interesting. Let's try to become friends. Because why not? And like I said, with that one girl, I used to be terrified of doing that. And this time I actually did it. I think I did it once for sure. I don't know if I did it any other time. No, my first day actually. I came up to a group of people, a group of kids that I thought were cool, and asked them if I could sit with them. But they were all very confused by me doing that, because at this school, there's no place where people just choose and sit there for the rest of the year. It is always changing because people are allowed to leave the school during lunch to go get food. And I did not really realize that. So I was like, well, I gotta sit with somebody. I'm not gonna take sitting by myself. That would suck. So I chose the people that I thought looked interesting to me. And I came up to them and I'm like, hey guys, I'm new at this school, can I like sit with you? And their reception was really meh. You know, if I were to have, even in this school, with the free lunch break thing and everything, if a kid would have come up to me and been like, oh hey, I'm new, can I sit with you? I would have absolutely told them, of course, go ahead. I'd ask them like, who are you? What is your life like? What are you interested in? Because I feel that is important. You gotta be hospitable. You gotta make people feel welcome. These people, they didn't really make me feel welcome at all. The only like two of them talked to me. The rest of them just sat there kind of like, oh well, this is weird. And due to that, I was able to meet some people. And due to that, I was able to meet some other people who were actually much more interesting and much more welcoming. Yeah, and then I did it again. I talked to a guy that I thought was really cool. And hey, I was right about him being cool. Now we talk to each other. We talk to each other about stuff that we are both interested in. And I am so happy about doing that because I don't have regrets right now. You know, the semester just ended. All these opportunities that I had to talk with those people, they're no longer there because the elective courses are over. And I actually took the opportunity to talk to the people that I wanted to get to know. Oh my god, my chest hurts, bro. And yeah, so I was worried, of course, when I did, you know, because when I came up to people, that was one of my greatest feats of courage when I did that. And I was just really worried about how others would look at me. Like, why is she talking to this person? That is so weird. And now I realize this is my superpower. People are afraid of me because of my confidence. And it sucks, actually, which I'll get into later. But hey, it shows to them that I'm stronger than them. And they're jealous. I know they're jealous of me because I have been able to conquer my own fear of just talking to people. Just, what is the problem with telling somebody, hey, you seem amazing. We should be friends. So, yeah. And next is social hierarchies. You know, there's always the division. Different people are divided into different groups. In classical understanding, there's the nerds, there's the popular girls, there's the freaking metalheads, and I don't know, there's the queers or whatever. There's everybody. And people are divided. And when I went to the school, I knew I didn't want to be controlled by those divisions. I wanted to be my own person who knew everybody I wanted to know. It does not matter where they fit in on the spectrum. I wanted to know them simply out of my pure interests. And nobody is going to fit me into a specific spectrum, into a specific group, because I am my own person. And that's kind of how things worked out, because now I just managed to secure connections with the most strange assortment of people. I can't say I'm really friends with all of them, as I will talk about later. But I know them, and they know me, and they are interested in my work, so to speak. I draw. And yeah, it's just nice, because we have conversations sometimes, and it's fulfilling enough. So yeah, that's my big achievement. I broke free of, or sort of broke free. Still, I feel anxiety. Still, I make stupid decisions and miss opportunities. But all the biggest opportunities I have taken, and I do not regret doing it. Because, you know, you come up to one person a single time, and you strike up conversation, and then your whole life changes as a result. You have experiences that you would have never expected to have. And yeah. However, the negative side effect of this is still alienation. since coming to the school, I might have felt even more alone than I have during homeschool, because I have realized just how different I am from all these people. I know a lot of people, but I don't really know them. I'm not really friends with anybody. I just have acquaintances. As much as I would like to consider some of them friends, we're still not really that close for that to be true. And it's the same goddamn situation as I described with me walking around the park. I'm at school, it's lunch, it's passing period. And everybody's around walking with their groups, with their little friends. And I'm by myself. I'm just like this. Oh my god, I hate when I talk and I'm congested. I have the worst freaking voice. It sounds awful. And I'm just by myself, and I'm, making these laughs. I'm listening to music. I'm in my own little world. And I'm just seeing as if life is passing by me. All these people, they're having these conversations. They're sharing memories. They're laughing at jokes together. I have nobody like that. I can invite people to hang out with me, but so far nobody's done that for me. And I don't know. I mean, at least nobody meaningful has done that. Nobody meaningful, really, to me. And it's just weird, because you recognize the fact that no matter how many people you have met, none of them really... I don't know what the situation is. Maybe they're also anxious to talk to you, because I'm kind of the initiator of conversations for the most part. Yeah, none of them really have the guts to talk to you, maybe. Or maybe some of them aren't really interested in you at all and they don't want to be around you. So it's this confusing thing. And I have noticed myself as a person, my personality and my appearance, they combine together to create an individual that isn't really somebody you could be comfortable easily and quickly. It's not that I threaten people or anything. I'm actually very nice. I try to be, at least. I hope I don't come off as mean. But like I said, people can tell that I'm on my way to breaking boundaries. I'm always trying to improve things, to go against these little social nuances that they want to believe aren't there, but they exist. People are afraid of making eye contact with certain people. People are afraid of talking to certain people for certain reasons. It's all very psychological, it's subconscious, and we do it, and sometimes we don't realize it. And they can tell that I have recognized that, and that I'm trying my best to break free of it. And that's how I've met certain people. And they can tell by my voice whenever I talk to them. I am very self-confident, because when I talk, I'm just that way for the most part. And they tell me, oh, you use big words. Vampiric? Oh, that's a big word. And I think to myself, oh, that's a big word? Oh my god, my bad. Since when? And I'm just realizing, I've got a completely different vocabulary. I've got a completely different understanding of myself and just how people work. I know that there's no reason to be afraid of stupid crap like I've just described. And, and in addition to that, I am Russian, and I'm tall. I'm 5'10". And my voice is just lower, generally. People tell me I sound like a guy, and maybe sometimes I try to sound like that, but that's just my voice. I can't force myself to talk higher, for example. So, yeah. And that too, it serves as like a physical intimidation thing. People know you're, oh, scary Russian, scary spy, very scary. So there's that. And then you're also tall and you talk like a guy. People don't feel any sense of comfort around you, no matter how kind or understanding you are. I'm not trying to like brag about me or trying to say I'm kind. Maybe to other people I sometimes am rude on accident. I don't know how, to be honest. But I do try to empathize with people. My sole goal is to empathize with people. And yeah. And overall, that just made me this little isolated pillar. I have made connections, and they are paying off sometimes if I make them. But at the same time, people are still scared of continuing communication, talking, continuing to talk, because they are influenced by the social machine. And I still haven't broken out of it. I'm still very much under the control of it. I know you never really break free of any norm or tradition. But you can get to a point where you start taking more control over your life. And that might lead you into isolation like it has for me. But at the same time, it makes you stronger. You know you're trying, and it is going to pay off at certain times. You're gonna run into coolest people by accident. You're gonna share the coolest experiences with them. You never know what that random person in your classroom has gone through or what they're interested in. You really don't know. You know, what I just had an experience, I was in my Algebra 3 class, and I love Tool, one of my favorite bands, okay? And you know how Tool is a band that likes to incorporate math into their music. So I was just trying to kind of joke a little and just ask out of curiosity my math teacher if he listens to Tool, and if it is common for mathematicians to listen to Tool. And I knew it was a weird, stupid question. And he was like, well, I don't listen to them, and I don't really know that any mathematicians listen to them specifically. I just know it's an old band. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then some guy from the other side of the room, he's like, oh, you listen to Tool? I like Tool. I like The Pot. I like Schism. And I'm like, oh my god, I would have never guessed that guy listened to Tool. And we started a conversation. Turns out we have a pretty similar taste in music. And yeah, I'm just glad, because to me he was just another random face in the crowd, and now he is a person of significance to me. So yeah, and this kind of happened with a few people at the school. I'm not gonna go through every example, but I'm genuinely grateful to all the people who have kind of bared with me. This is not a social experiment, by the way. I'm not like purposefully picking people out to see like if they can pass the test. I'm no person to do that. I just want to improve myself and improve my life a little. So yeah, and I'm really grateful to all those new connections that I have made, all these new friendships. I know I said most of these people are acquaintances, but I do feel like there's potential for greater friendships. And yeah, I don't know. It's just, life is a weird thing. You know, I used to be the girl in the third grade class who was afraid to stand up for herself to some other girl who liked manipulating me. And now I'm the person that everybody's afraid of. It's really interesting. From Worm to Antichrist Superstar. I'm not Antichrist Superstar. I just really like the album. I can make so many Marilyn Manson references. I know all the lore, all the albums, what they're about. I'm a little weird in that not weird, what are you talking about? I'm just very knowledgeable, okay? About certain music. If you want to talk to me about music, I can tell you stuff about music. And I can introduce you to great ear food. That's it. Guys, go out there. Go out there. Do stuff that you're afraid of. Fear is the only thing that limits you. Just before I end the video, disclaimer. All I just said was about this new school. It does not apply. Some of these things do not apply to the old school. The people I have quote unquote left behind that I still talk to, when I said acquaintances and not friends, the fact that whenever I said I don't have friends, I meant I don't have friends at the school. So yeah, I really miss all of you guys. I still really cherish all of you guys. You guys are some of the best people I've ever met, and I think you know who you are if you're watching this. And I don't know, I'm really tired. And you just mean so much to me you could not even imagine.